All right, so you know how in any given target market, there's kind of three categories of people. There are the people who are ready to buy right now, which is who everybody's advertising to, hyper competitive, hard to sell to. And then there's this bigger segment of the market, about half of the people in the market. They're probably going to be buying in the next 30 to 90 days or so. And then of course the rest of them may never buy. Well, when you look in that segment, that bigger segment of people who are likely to buy in the next 30 to 90 days or whatever, wouldn't it be cool if we knew that there were certain things that might happen that would accelerate their desire for your stuff? See, that's called an indicator. And an indicator is something that your market will experience that will indicate that they're going to now have a more immediate need for whatever it is you're selling. And this concept, at least for me, originally came from observing how home security companies market offline. If a house gets broken into in a neighborhood, what a home security company will usually do is they'll scan the police reports for all of the break-ins, and then they will start direct mailing all of the neighboring houses that are near the place that got broken into, basically saying, hey, there's been some crime in your area. You want us to come out and put a security system in there. So here's the thing with advertising. If something works well offline, a lot of times it can work even more efficiently online. So here's how this might translate in an online environment. So the question becomes, how do you do it online, right? And thankfully, it can be a lot easier and it can be a lot cheaper and it can be a lot faster. So the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what could be an indicator for my marketplace? What could they experience, or what could be happening in their lives or whatever that would cause them to have a more immediate need for whatever it is that you're selling? I'll give you an example. A friend and client of mine, they have a home services company, and their company comes and removes like junk from your house. So when we were brainstorming some promotional ideas for this company, what would happen in someone's life where they would need this service, right? What would they be doing? And we came up with two no-brainer things. Thing number one, if you just sell your house and you're moving out of the house. You know how when you move, you end up you're packing all your stuff, and then there's this giant mountain of stuff that you've had for years, and you're like, why do I have all this stuff? And then you got to get rid of it. Well, of course, their company would come and get rid of it. Another indicator would be right in that same vein, would be if you're moving into a new house. Well, what do you have when you move? 1 million empty boxes, right? And then inevitably you're like, do I really need the statue of Garfield with the broken tail? I think I want to throw that away as well. So now the question becomes, okay, if we know this is going to happen, how do we really advertise for it? And here's what you do. Now, the name of the game, as always, is this concept of intent-based branding. Intent-based branding is a really simple concept to understand. We identify a target market, and then we put very useful content in front of them that speaks directly to our perfect prospect. If they consume that content, it means they're probably interested in whatever it is we have, and then we make offers to them later. Super basic version of it, a little more complicated than that, but that's the big picture. So how would we use it in this context? Well, in this case, we would create content for both groups of people. If you've just sold your house and if you're moving into a new house. As a matter of fact, we'd probably want to get in front of the people who are about to sell their houses. So what could we do for them? Well, wouldn't it make sense if we created some content that educated people on what to do in the process of selling their home? So the question now becomes, all right, within the context of how we can help, what would those people want? What would be genuinely helpful for them? What would their frustrations be? And what would their emotions be around that, right? So in this case, when someone's thinking about selling their house, they know they're going to have to move, and they're already dreading it, because what's the worst thing about moving? It's horribly inconvenient, right? So we might put together some content specifically for those folks, and the content might be something like, here's how to plan for a move so it's not going to be awful. Here's how to pack all your stuff up so it doesn't get broken, right? So this is long before they even move. We're just putting stuff out there, this really calling out to people that's like, hey, if you're thinking about moving, watch this content. Now, when they watch the content, we now know that they're facing one of those indicators that are going to make them interested in my client's service. So once they consume that content, then my client can run retargeting ads to them saying, hey, if you're moving and you have a whole bunch of junk and you don't want to deal with it, we'll come get it for you. And then they tell them what to do. I'll give you one more really simple example, right? This is a universally applicable example everyone can relate to. Let's say we're selling cars. And let's say our target market is going to be affluent parents who want to buy the safest car possible for their teenager that, God forbid, I'm one of these people, that is about to get their driver's license and they're going to want to start driving. What is every parent going to be thinking about? How is my kid going to be safe? What's the best possible car I can get for this child that's going to allow allow them to survive any sort of accident that may come. So what would we do? Obviously, we want to target everybody who's thinking about buying a car for their kid and educate them on the safest type of car. Now, this is where you really have to be very conscious of the way intent-based branding works. We don't want to pitch during this content part. Instead, the video might say something like this. If you're a parent and your child has their learner's permit and now it's come for that fateful moment where you're starting to face the decision of, my little child is going to be driving on their own, I need to get them a car, the probably biggest concern that's going on in your mind right now is keeping them safe. That's why we've put together this quick little video showing you the 7 must-haves that indicate safety in any car, no matter what type it is, right? So we're not pitching a particular type of car. We're just basically calling out to the person saying, hey, if you're looking to buy a car for your kid, watch this video. Then we're building that bond with them, we're educating them, etc. If they watch the content, what's that going to tell you? They're probably a parent considering buying a car for their child. So after they watch it, now we retarget them with offers. And of course, the offer is all going to be about how safe the car is. Really simple concept, very, very, very effective. Few people ever give it this much forethought in terms of planning their ad campaigns. If you do, you'll probably come out ahead and you'll help a lot of people in the process. My name is Frank Kern for KernBranding.com. Hope you found this helpful. If you know anyone else who might enjoy it, please feel free to share it. Till then, take it easy.